What's up, guys? Chisanga Malata here from the Daily Star and the Daily Express in London, England. Hope you're all well. And if you're locked down, I hope you're coping down with your lockdown well. All right, the reason why you're here. Breaking news earlier tonight that Conor McGregor will rematch Dustin Poirier at UFC 257. Now, this fight, as we all know, has been in the works for some time now. The UFC president, Dana White, pretty much offered the pair the rematch after they had that back and forth on Twitter, and Conor and Dustin both suggested that they meet each other for a charity match. I'm glad the fight has actually come to fruition. For a moment, I thought they were going to pull the old switcheroo, much like they pulled the switcheroo between Khabib and Conor McGregor, the UFC 205, and I thought that they were going to put in Justin Gaethje because it seemed that Dustin wasn't coming to terms with the UFC over a bump and pay, which he wanted prior to... well, if you remember, I was about to say prior to, if you remember, he wanted a bump and pay to fight Tony Ferguson. And given how long he's been in the UFC and his recent run of form, obviously the Khabib Nurmagomedov loss withstanding, he deserves a bump and pay. So I'm glad that it appears that Dustin has received parity. Well, not parity, has received what he wants. So that is good news on that front. Now, in terms of the matchup, I'm kind of torn. Obviously, Conor 6 years ago, I believe, well, just over 6 years ago at UFC 178, it was a short night at the office for him. He stopped Dustin Poirier, I think just before the 2 minute mark, if memory serves me correctly. He caught him with the left hand that just grazed Poirier on the back of the head, and as Conor said, that was all she wrote. But there are some interesting factors going into this fight. I mean, Conor's inactivity, I know he was turning in a peerless performance against Donald Cerrone in January, but there's still some doubts. There are still some doubts about whether or not he's an elite lightweight. And let's not forget, people, this man has only fought twice at lightweight. Obviously, his fight with Khabib Nurmagomedov, and then his fight with Eddie Alvarez. So obviously, as I said there at the top of it, or not the top of this, obviously just 2 seconds ago, that Conor did put in an imperious performance against Donald Cerrone, stopping him in 40 seconds. He looked fresh, he looked sharp, but, and I said this on the night after, or in the immediate aftermath, I said this to many of my colleagues, Donald didn't seem, Donald let the occasion get to him. I was about to say Donald didn't see himself, but in the past, we all know that sometimes Donald can get into his head, and I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened as soon as Conor's music came on that night, and I think Donald just didn't get started. So for me, I see a lot of people on Twitter predicting an emphatic victory for Conor, but I don't know if that's gonna be the case. Poirier has come on leaps and bounds since that loss to Conor in I can't believe how many years are we talking now? In 2013, yeah. No, 2014, sorry, my apologies, my math is bad there. Poirier's come on leaps and bounds since then, but I don't know whether or not he's improved enough to beat Conor. And one thing that will be interesting going into this fight and could potentially work in Poirier's favor is that the build-up is not going to be anywhere near as, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not going to be anywhere near as toxic. Maybe toxic is a bit extreme, but it won't be anywhere as near as a tense and acrimonious build-up as to their first meeting at UFC 178. You all remember the antics and the pair getting really, really close and animated at the weigh-ins, at the weigh-ins in particular. And to be honest, like when you look back at the videos, I think Conor got into Dustin's head well and truly. He got into his head well and truly early there, and I think it showed him in the weigh-ins, and Dustin didn't fight the fight that he could. But there's also other factors in this fight. This fight is going to be at 155, a weight class that I believe Dustin Poirier should have been at a long time ago, and obviously since he's moved up to 155, he's had great success, obviously claiming the interim title against Max Holloway at UFC 236. I'm stopping short on an official prediction for this one, folks. You're not going to get me giving an official prediction just yet. You'll probably have to wait maybe a couple of weeks. I want to see how both men are getting on in training and what have you. But one thing we know is that this fight is going to be absolute fire. I'm so glad the UFC have come to terms with Dustin. I probably think that Conor might have just said to them, just Dustin's who I want to fight. Just make the deal happen, and that's probably happened. But I mean, we get the fight that we want. So Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 2, official for UFC 257 on January 23rd. All right, guys, that's all from me. Chisanga Malata from the Daily Star and Daily Express. If you like my ramblings, and I know some of you do, so I appreciate it, feel free to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Chisanga_Malata. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week, folks.